I've been doing some very difficult Thomas and Friends toy hunting, and I've found something very awesome. In fact, I found a couple of very curious things during this bag. I'm going to take a look at one of these very closely in this video. What the has happened here? I might have had to bleep something out there, and this is just stupidly devastating to see. Who would come and smack the Tommy Gordon like that? Did you hear that sound like laughing? What in the hell is going on down here? Last time I was looking at this, no way was it this wrecked. It wasn't in this many pieces. Sure, it was a broken toy, but this looks like it's had a king hit go on, or something's fallen from the ceiling. I mean, look at this here. That looks like some sort of hammer blow. I can see this toy here, which is a Diesel 10 Trackmaster, has also looks like it's been hit as well. That's got batteries flying out. I'm going to have to tidy up here. It's going to take a little bit of time to get this back together. Let me show you the story of finding the toys that we're going to take a look at in this video. Warning, this video is made for a general audience. It may contain adult themes, consumer affairs advice, historical information, retail analysis, and weird funny bits. I need to say all this here because the YouTube systems are totally dumbass. Oh crikey Charlies, I've been after some Secret Agent Thomas. A lot of people say to me there's a new 3-pack getting around. This is just before Christmas, like there's 5 days of Christmas, and I'll tell you what, I'm surprised how much stock is here. It's just nice to see stuff in store before Christmas. I've learned sometimes you've got to do a bit of a dig, and I'll just put some of these down here. You can see what stock is here as I pull this apart. I'm finding it really hard to find the Thomas that I'm after. And the other thing is I don't have a really good picture of what this 3-pack looks like. It's like a lot of stuff from, you know, to me this stuff has been around for some time now. I'm going to put this one here. I'll just put it down here. I will rebuild the shop. Still pulling out here. Yeah, I mean, I see the Crystal Caves thing, and I just think back, you know, months ago when I first saw that in store. Oh, crikey, Charlies! Hey, look at this here. This is it. I didn't know how to rub a ducky. Man, it frippin' looks awesome. Looks absolutely frippin' awesome. It's got like a almost see through the Thomas there. At least the artwork's all nice and straight. Oh, there's another one. Oh, great. Okay, I'm certainly grabbing these. That is frippin' awesome. What does it say on the back here? Is it going to tell me anything about this, or is it going to be bugger all? Nah. As usual, sweet FA. Just put those up there. I'll just keep digging here. I'll just see what's at the very, very back. It's just a Crystal Caves Thomas. I am going to rebuild this, but crikey Charlies, I'm glad I've found this. It's the sort of, looks like the sort of 3-pack that would definitely be one to put under the bed, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, just before Christmas I see this much Thomas stock. It's amazing. I didn't do a full study of the Thomas stock before Christmas because I think I've told that story many times over, but I'm actually surprised how much stock is here. That's not going to fit there. Whether that's a good or a bad sign, or maybe it's just for the fact that finally the supply chain, you know, is up and running and working again. I think I've got that nice. And I've just heard something at the back dock for a team member, and that's not me. Oops, I nearly forgot to put these in their place. I'm actually so excited, I forgot to look for obvious factory errors. You've probably seen them. That is the ones I missed. I'm just really happy I've got a Secret Agent Thomas. It looks absolutely awesome. It's a great looking Thomas. It's going to look fantastic in my Thomas collection, adult Thomas collection. I should unbox one. So I remember seeing people saying, are you going to review this, Leo? Well, one part about reviewing something is you've got to find it. Okay, sometimes I really struggle to find stuff, but man, I've got two, which is really nice. Before I leave here, I'll take a look at these ones here. I think there's some Thomases at the back, and I've just got to do some moving and shaking of some of this across here. I always put things back to as they were. Okay, I really want to see the Thomases up the back. Okay, well, that one's presenting good. I like to get the ones with the little line work errors. Let's take a look at this one. Actually, that one's presenting nicely as well. Maybe they've solved the problem that was going on in the factory. There's apparently a Monster Jam truck which is available as well. It's apparently Thomas themed. Oh man, it's been hard to find. Whether it's in Australia or not is another thing. I'm just going to put a Thomas at the front because that looks awesome. But I'm struggling to find the Monster Truck Thomas. Don't worry, I did completely reset the store to how it should look. Sugar. Notice I didn't swear. I said the word sugar. That one's on the ground. And the other thing I haven't been able to find is a Thomas & Friends Advent calendar for 2022. I've found every other frippin' Advent calendar, but not a Thomas one. I'm in the Hot Wheels zone. This isn't my local Kmart. This is one just to say up the coast. And I remember I thought this would be a popular Hot Wheels. Guess what? Never take advice from me when it comes to Hot Wheels, but you probably already knew that. The stock here is very good considering we are just days away from Christmas. But what I really wanted to come here for, apart from that Monster Truck Thomas the Tank that I can't find, Hot Wheels 20 packs at my local Kmart have been obliterated all during 2022. Now, there's only one box here which has been broken into. I'll just give you a look at it here. I mean, the Hot Wheels people understand this way more than me because we can't see the cars that have been taken out, but it most probably would have been one up here. And then what tends to happen is people see an open box and they tend to pick at things and they think, oh, I can just grab another car and no one's going to notice. And I think that's why there's this little car left here like that. I got that sneaky suspicion that this here used to belong in there. What I will do, and I'm not paid to tidy up stores or try to work out who does this, I'm going to put that other car in there. And I was doing what you're about to see so many times at my local Kmart, it's not funny. When there's busted into stock, I like to put it up on the top shelf. And in this store, it's another shelf higher, so I'm going to have to like a double step to get it up to the top shelf. Oh, it brings back so many memories of what 2022 was like while doing something like that there. Naughty people seem to ignore the 10 packs, so possibly telling me there's no problems with these. I noticed this at my local store, but the rest of the 20 packs have not been touched. They're all still in prime condition, and hopefully they'll be sold before the naughty people reappear. This Kmart's got a naughty back corner like my local Kmart has, and we may find something here which is going to show us that, well, people like to get a freebie. It's maybe that's part of something going on here, but we'll just keep looking along here. Okay.
Assistance is required to parcel pickup.
Parcel pickup, that's where we're going to go next. Assistance required. Okay, so someone's decided the gaming mouse wanted to be a freebie, and also what's this here? Men's something. Was it a watch or something? I hope I'm right there, Enco. It's just a generic thing. It's got the security tag thing, but of course, once it's out of its packaging, it means nothing. So that there, and this here, let me just unfold this. Okay, some sort of treasure hunt collectible toy, which has been probably deboxed or whatever. Up the back here, this has been left behind. Yeah, and the weird part to all this is, you know, you talk to people in store and they just say, oh, well, this is just normal activity. You know, welcome to the real world. The fact stuff like that is now normalized, I think that's a huge, huge problem. Anyway, I'll get out of here next. I've got to take this footage to prove I paid for these. Okay, so pay, blah, blah. Stupid damn card. Yes, okay, so proof of purchase. I actually paid for those Thomas. Okay, I'm up at Toymate. I can see they've got Thomas on that side. The Thomas that used to be on that side, it's all gone. There was a lot of old Thomas Adventures and stuff that used to be there. But it's what's on this side. Oh, flippin' hell. What the? It's a gold Thomas All Engines Go. No one's ever told me about that. That looks absolutely flippin' awesome. Oh my God. And there's stacks of them here. Look at this. Up here as well. Oh man, and they're down here too. Look at this. Wow. Oh, this is amazing. This was a store where I grabbed a whole bunch of the Diamond Thomases. I'm pretty sure I only paid $1. Now look here. They've gone up $1. They've gone up to $2, but still a great price for that little special 75th anniversary Diamond Thomas. And there's only, well, there's 2 full pegs of it there, and there's a few more there. This here is the Thomas Gold in my mind, sorry for the pun, but there's nothing really here telling me anything special about this, and I think this is what I don't like about the All Engines Go packaging. It doesn't really say anything why this gold Thomas is gold. I'll definitely be getting some of these. It's funny, I look at James there and I think his line work needs to be refined a bit more, made darker. We won't say too much about James, will we? I had a bit of a giggle here. There's a pack here which I think's been here for eons. It feels like eons. It's the Duchess. It's still here, of the old, was it Trackmaster 2? I've lost track of what Trackmaster's what. Yeah, Duchess doesn't seem to be that popular. I'm pretty sure I always said Duchess was going to be a hard sell. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Another curious one here, and it's one I remember seeing in and out of stores. It feels like a couple of years back now. It's the birthday wish Thomas. Now there's quite a few here. In fact, there's dust on top, so that's sort of telling you what's going on here. The fact there's dust on top. This has been here for some time, and I think I've got 1 or 2 of these, but it's curious that it just seems to sit here for some period of time and there's a poor kid screaming in the background. The Thomases and the twin packs seem to have good line work here. People said look out for the star that's missing on the wagon. Apparently I missed one in another video, dumb me, but I tend to look for the line work which is all wonky, which I'm feeling like it's getting harder and harder to find, and hopefully that's a good sign as I just pick up the last Thomas. If I go really wide here and just move the camera like this, you'll see what's on the shelves here. I just keep wanting to turn around and see what's on the other side because it used to be double aisled in a sense. So yeah, that's what's here. There is a bit of Thomas Adventure stuff here, and I liked Thomas Adventures. I liked it because I didn't like what came after this, and I think a lot of people would agree with me there. It wasn't around for very long, about 2 years I think, Thomas Adventures. Oh god, I see YouTube kids there and I'm just going to get triggered. Let me just flip this to the back. Yeah, it was an eerie time. You had the big push for YouTube kids, and it was really the beginning of the end for a lot of people on YouTube. Actually, there's a set here, and I may purchase this because it's very much an end of an era set. It's this Thomas Wood set here. I'd be more curious in getting the troublesome truck out of this than anything else because it's related to the new variant of the troublesome truck in the new Thomas Wooden Railway. Yes, this is the last one. Maybe I'll buy this. It's certainly been here for some time. Look at the dust that's on this beauty. Oh yeah. The troublesome truck is hiding in there, trying to peek out, looking a little bit sad. The curious aspect to the painted version of Thomas Wood is, where I live in Australia, it was rarely ever seen in store. I think I only ever saw them in Aldi Australia, but to find the painted version of it was very tricky. Now remember, this was $60. It's down from $99. I'm looking at like a weird under the bed investment, as strange as that sounds. Looking on the back of the box, if you're wondering why Thomas Wood failed, well, one major reason is they tried to bring in their own style of track connector, which wouldn't talk to any other wooden railway track. It was always really hard. Well, I found it really hard to find, you know, destinations and engines. But anyone who's got this here, I mean, imagine having that there. That's like having the Etzel of the toy train industry. That's something you definitely put under your bed as a major investment that's going to pull mega bucks in the future. Just to prove I'm a person of my word, here's that Thomas Wood set. I'm out in the car park in the back of my car. It's still packed loaded with dust, which I like, but yes, that's going to be a nice set to keep and always remember the great days of Thomas and Friends.
What's going on? He doesn't know who smashed up the Tony Gordon. I'm totally messing shoplifting. Did you ever wonder how he seems to find all the stuff that's broken into in store? You know why? Let me tell you a little secret. Come closer. He's the one doing the shoplifting. He's stealing the Hot Wheels out of the 20 packs. It's him! Him! I'm telling you, he's nothing but trouble. He makes up so many stories just to make you sorry for him. He's a nutcase. He's a total loser. Oh, I can hear him coming. Oh, better go.
I'm back down at my table. I've made myself a coffee to de-stress after finding this smashed up Gordon. The kids said they thought they heard a cat fight or something screeching down here. I didn't hear it. I should change this label to very broken toys, because unfortunately that's how Gordon is now. It's just sickening. It's completely and utterly sickening, and I just can't stand all the frickin' mysteries that are going on down in my little zone here. Okay, well, you sort of know what's in this bag. Sort of. Okay, yeah, I like this. Really hard to find. I'm telling you now, if you see this in the store, do not ignore it. Put it under your bed for a rainy day when you need a bit of extra dough. Also, I'll just do it like this. Okay, this here, and that was a nice surprise. I like getting surprises when I go out taking a look for stuff, but I have been desperately trying to find the Thomas the Tank version of that, but I found a SpongeBob instead, which I thought was cool. I've got more to say about toys like this, in particular the Thomas version and what's happening online with it. If I remember, I'll talk about that later in the video. I'll gently put that over there like that. Crunch. We will probably bypass this in a sense in this video, because I really want to concentrate on this completely awesome looking Secret Agent Thomas 3-pack. Well, this Thomas 3-pack is one I only found out about via comments on my YouTube channel. People telling me, Leo, there's this funky new Secret Agent Thomas. I had to go on YouTube and watch part of the episode this is related to, and it's called License to Deliver. It's got a great song. There's a fantastic song related to this Thomas, and it's like a whole play on James Bond, like Thomas's 001, Percy's 006, you know, ha. But what I don't like, and it gets back to the All Engines Go packaging, is if you know nothing about why Thomas looks like this and it's a dress-up sort of thing, there's nothing here to explain the episode, and I've been saying this over and over. It needs a little synopsis of why this 3-pack is special, especially to people who don't understand the episode. When I saw this in store, I felt there was something missing going on here, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It wasn't until I came home and I started to fiddle with the packaging, and if I start to tilt it like that, you see what's different here versus what came before it. If I bring a earlier version of Thomas All Engines Go in the 3-pack, maybe you can see what's different here, especially what's reflecting. Yes, we've lost our plastic cover here, which sort of is a part one of protecting a toy, and for some reason Special Agent Thomas is missing that plastic there. I've got no idea why. It sort of leaves the Thomas a bit more vulnerable, a very hard word for me to say, for people to come in and pick things out and take them out of store for free. I mean, I'm sick of seeing that in store. Did you hear that little laugh? What the frickin' hell is going on here? Stuff here just spooks me. There's just weird stuff going on here all the time. I'll just grab a sip of my coffee to calm myself down. That's better. Well, Teddy has come up to visit me. He's come to de-stress me out of the coffee, Teddy. I don't want to see you go wild. What I'm going to do next, when Teddy's had his play up here, I'm going to unbox this, pretending I'm a person who's going to fiddle with it in store, because I don't like the fact we've lost that. So a little bit of a different unboxing from me. Teddy's very inquisitive. I know where he likes to be scratched. It's just here at the base of the tail. And he's got mum's tail. That was like, little cat's tail was like that. He's still a kitten. He's only got a few more months before he's a full-blown cat. This is where he likes to scratch. Look at that. He's purring like mad. His sister Bubble doesn't come in and visit me, but Teddy always comes up here and makes himself home on the review bench. Don't you, Teddy? He just loves that scratch. A beautiful cat. He's beautifully natured. Unfortunately, little cat had a very strange temperament, and we had a desex and it made it way worse. It was like, yeah, I'll tell that story one day on YouTube. It's actually quite an interesting cat story about sometimes getting a female cat desexed after it's had a litter of kittens can end in trouble. And look, these are his favourite scratching areas here, right here. There we are. Well, Teddy, are you going to steal the show? And we've got an awesome Thomas to look at, so really, I mean, I'd love to have you around, but you're going to have to go. Hey? Can't have you all the time, I'd love to. Oh, he's going to settle back down again. Or maybe he can stay. But he'd be a complete and utter distraction. Come on, Teddy. Time to go. I know you want to stay, but I've got to move on. Oh, okay. Was that you're going to stay there now? Teddy, you need to move, please, because I need to unbox this. I know you can't unbox this. I know you'd like to unbox this. Come on, Teddy. Come on. I know it's going to be impossible. Look, I'll just push him to the back here, gently. Okay, roll over, Teddy. Good boy. Yeah, as I was going to say, I'm going to do a different unboxing as if we've got Naughty Fingers in store. And Teddy's up the other end of the box and he's going to cause chaos here, I'm sure. And what Naughty Fingers tend to do is, I'm just going to see how hard it is to get, let's say, they might see that little rubber ducky and they think, I want the rubber ducky. How hard is it to get rubber ducky out? Rubber ducky is free. And that's the problem with doing the packaging in a poorer way. And if I expand on that idea, let's just see how hard it is to get the rest of the train out. I'm sure Teddy's going to help me here. Little fingers probably wouldn't be as strong as my hands and whatnot. Now look at this, really easy. Okay, Mattel, you need to reinforce your packaging because, man, I know what goes on in store these days and it's freaking frightening. Look at that. Whole toy's out. Way too easy to get that out of packaging. Far too easy. I'm not teaching you how to steal stuff. What is that noise? What? Sounded like someone laughing at me. Did you hear that? And obviously some smart bean counter at the toy factory's decided, oh, we need to lighten up on the packaging. What an epic frickin' fail. Sack him fast. I'll pull this 3-pack back together. I'll get the rubber ducky and put it on its flat car. I'll also put a battery in the Thomas, and next will be the infamous in-hand appraisal. Okay, the rear flat car, piece of rolling stock. It is the AEG type wheels. There's no cogs on this. It'd be nice if there's a bit of colour on that little bit of detail, but hey, in life we can't have everything. The illusion that there's something large underneath that piece of material is very good here. If I spin it around, you'll see the shadows and all playing on the side of what looks like material. There's some great big belts going across here, so you have a feeling it's really holding something onto the flat car. The way it keys over the buffers is nice, and that stops from flopping off too easily. Then again, sometimes it's fun when stuff flops off easily, but sometimes it's nice when something is nice and fairly rigid on top, so you're not losing what's going on there. Maybe the fail here is what's underneath here. And because we're secret agents, I'm not going to tell you. Of course I am. I'm going to tell you. Guess what's underneath here. Have a guess. I'll give you a peek. Did you see that? There's nothing. And maybe that's the fail. So in the end, you basically just got a normal, basic, very basic flat car of the AEG style, and the funky bit's probably the big tarpy bit. But in essence, it's very similar to what comes next. You got two basic flat cars, but this one's got a rubber ducky, which I haven't seen the full episode, so I don't understand how this keys into the episode. I know there's a searchlight in the episode. Percy's got the searchlight, I think. It's very hard when you haven't seen the full episode to understand, you know, the trick at the end. But what I can do here is I can do this, which is sort of nice. I can cover up the duck with the tarp. So I could play a magic trick and make the duck disappear. Look, 1, 2, 3, and the duck is still there because I don't do magic. Unfortunately, I just do wacko videos on YouTube, and I was a failure at maths, so I could never work out magic. But in the end, when you strip away the funk, you've got just basically two very, very, well, I suppose they're interesting coloured Thomas All Engines Go flat cars. Well, I should test the duck, shouldn't I? And if the duck goes to the bottom here, we're going to pull this review up and we're going to say Mattel need to get their act together. So, is a little ducky going to sink? It's actually quite heavy, I'm fearful. Or is it going to float? What do you think? Oh, thank God. The duck floats. Get this set, it's a beauty. It's a definite winner. Thank God the duck floats. That would have been a disaster if it went sinking to the bottom. Phew, now we can all get some sleep. Okay, the Secret Agent Thomas, and this is a very interesting All Engines Go Motorized Thomas. I've got the batteries in this and I've left it open and you'll understand why soon. This Thomas here is partly detailed in what you see in the episode License to Deliver. There's a smokestack like signal device on both Thomas and Percy that you don't get here. There's other devices across the front of him which you're not getting, the taps that do the goo. He's dressed in disguise, he's got a broom as a moustache and bits picked from the bin in a sense, so it's all that sort of fun dress up idea. And a lot of this episode is set in the dark, so there's you're being scared of the dark and or not scared of the dark is part of it. This Thomas is transparent in the sense that you can see through it, and if I just get around this way here, and if I pick up a torch, and without flaring out the camera, you'll see that you can see in an interesting way right through the toy, but of course you can't see past the battery pack. Yes, I think by seeing this, I actually saw a missed opportunity that we will get to, and I'm going to show you something, but I won't get too heavily involved in it. And if I take this apart here, and then you can see again the transparency that's going on here with the Thomas. It's a completely transparent mold. The roof isn't, but the sides are. If I go like this, I don't want to flare out the camera too much. But in that sense, it's actually a very interesting Thomas the Tank. It's a very eye-catching one. And if I go in closer, you'll start to see some interesting details in here. And if I get the battery pack back in and just move it, you can see through what's going on behind it, and it looks like printed circuitry. I've heard people say the word, it's a Techno Thomas, which I'm not sure where they got that from. If I flare it like that, you can see the details as well. It's nice. I like this a lot. You can see what his face looks like. We just get the button nose, the rest is printed on. It's a shame we haven't got all of the aspects to the episode, but then again, as we know with the Thomas toys, you rarely get something that truly represents what you see in an episode, and I think this is a classic example. I suppose you could, if you had the thing on top here, it looks fairly awkward, the smoke signal device, and maybe the taps at the front which are missing looked a bit naffed, but it would have been nice if we had, there's like it looks like another piece on top here. I'm not exactly sure what it's about because I haven't seen the full episode. I tried to, but I just can't see the full episode. It's a nice Thomas. There's nothing going on in the back here. We haven't got painted buffers, but I just like the look of this and the fact it's transparent. And I'll just talk about a bit of a missed opportunity that I think should have gone on here. Okay, I call this a torch. You probably call it a flashlight because people saying torches that got fires, Leo. That's a flashlight. I've pulled one apart. And I've pulled out the very bright globe out of this, and guess where it's going to go? Dun, dun, dun. I'm just mincing this in without any solder, so I'm squeezing one wire into the battery terminal there. LEDs are polarity sensitive, so you have to get them around the right way, and I'm going to put the other one here. I've just checked that it works. Okay, now I'll mince the in there by taking the battery out. My God, it's like the good old days of Leo Kim video, isn't it? I can't go back there anymore, or else I get flagged off the side. Oh, there we go. Okay, you see where this is going to go? Yeah, so why couldn't Mattel do that? I should have worked for a toy company, but then again, I would have sent the toy company broke by putting extra details and ideas into toys. I'm not going to do anything apart from just sit that there. I'm only doing this as a very quick example of what was a missed opportunity in my mind, and I'm going to squeeze this together. In fact, I'm going to be able to get the screwdriver in here and sneak this up. It's a fairly tight squeeze, but I've got a light in there. If I turn some lights off, we can marvel at something a little bit funky. The light's turned on by the same switch that turns the motor on, that completes the circuit to give the light power, and it just transforms this little transparent Secret Agent Thomas into something a little bit more funky. If I went in and removed the whistle section of this toy, it would let the light permeate further along. Or if I, did a small custom job in there, I'm sure I could make it look far more awesome than that, but it's just an idea. If you're curious, that's it in total darkness. Okay, looks like a raging firebox melting down inside Thomas there. The yellow of the light is coming from the fact that it's right underneath where the funnel plastic is, which is all yellow. I think it's just throwing the yellow hue to everything. Yeah, funky, cool, and we never got it. Yes, look, it's just a silly idea. Just wanting to prove a point of the transparency, mainly. Yeah, there was a little. Was it a take along toy that was a? It was transparent. It had lights in it. There's a whole series of them. Yeah, I think it was when they had the silly magnets, the really dumb magnets. Yeah, I'll just take this out. We'll go back to normal. That was just a little bit of like good old-fashioned fun. It wasn't even soldered in. We can sort of forget we ever saw that now and continue on as per usual. It's a very interesting Thomas & Friends 3-pack for the fact we've got our, I'll call it Techno Transparent Thomas. I think it's one to grab, it's one to put under the bed for an investment for a day in the future. It's hard to tell. Sometimes this stuff pops hard and you think you're going to see it in the shelves for months, and then all of a sudden they're all gone, and next thing you see is them online for an absolutely ridiculous price. It doesn't happen to everything, but I've got a sneaky feeling this one here might do it. Well, I'll give this Secret Agent Thomas a spin on the turntable, and we can just marvel at the beauty of what's going on here. Beautiful. And of course on the turntable, sometimes things go faster, sometimes things go slower. It's not too bad a lumpy runner, and I often talk about that gap between the rear coupling of Thomas there, or an engine, and the rolling stock, and when there's a flat car behind, you don't tend to notice it as much. I'll have to say this, it's an extremely stable runner. It's not playing up at all. I feel like I need to introduce something to spice it up. To show off the Special Agents Thomas, I'm going to put on just a normal stock standard all engines go Thomas, and I'll get that onto the turntable, and we will hopefully see how, and I don't want to cause a train wreck here. Oh, I'm not totally out of practice, aren't I? I don't want that to happen, but if I do that, I'll get that one going backwards. I'll get this on here very sneakily fast. Okay, we've got there. But I want them to be together, so I'm going to have to lose the wagon. How can I do this without a train wreck? If I go like that. Oh, oops, didn't see that. We're going to keep going, and we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to then get this Thomas back here like this. You didn't see that either. It was like a time warp, and that's what I want to see now, finally. Okay, so the stock standard Thomas versus the Secret Agent Thomas. There's a twin shot of it. Which one's your eye going towards? I know what I'm looking at. Guess which one I'm looking at? It's that one. Oops. There. That's the one you put under your bed as a investment into the future, because it's an adult toy review. YouTube, hear that word, investment. We looked in shops at shoplifting. We're looking at lots of adult things in this stupid video. Yeah, I'm gonna get done over by the bots. It seems to be just the way it works now. So yeah, stock standard Thomas, boring. And here comes a Secret Agent. Yes, appealing. Very nice. The fact it's transparent and got that funky detailing going on, I like it a lot. There's the rubber ducky. You're probably saying, we're not seeing enough rubber ducky, and the other covered wagon, as I'll call it. It's a secret, because that's the way secret agents work, isn't it? I'll just come in and grab this Thomas nice and fast. I'm going to connect it up to its wagon again. I don't know if I can do this single-dingly. Be a nice little test, isn't it, if I can do this single-handedly. I like to do things single-handedly. It's important to show that, and I can. I'm going to get this into the middle of the turntable without causing a train wreck. And I'm going to shoot some slow motion of the trains going round, and we might talk about something else that's very important to talk about. That's a nice little double shot there. Very nice. And when you put another engine on the turntable, you get weird speeds going on as well. Weird. It was really nice to have found this Thomas & Friends Motorized Secret Agent 3-pack. Normally when 3-packs are released, there are 3 different variations, but with the packaging, you've got no idea what else is released because you don't see anything else which is connected to the one that I found. It's marketing 101 to show the others that you can collect in a series of a similar toy. Come on, Fisher-Price Mattel, get your act together. A lot of people have asked me during 2022, Leo, why haven't you got into the new Thomas Wooden Railway toys, which look fantastic? And of course Mattel have got their tail between their legs because Thomas Wood Unpainted and Thomas Wood Painted were both complete flops. So some marketing and design genius at Mattel would have had their ass kicked after Thomas Wood failed, and then after a Mattel think tank, someone's come along and said, hey, why don't we make a premium Thomas Wooden Railway toy? Wow, isn't that what we had in the first place? And of course, they've had to also change the track connector back to the conventional wooden railway track connector. So hopefully Mattel have gone through their darkest days of tinkering with this toy, trying to destroy it. It seems like the light is at the end of the tunnel. We are getting some really good stuff appearing, but I have a lot of trouble finding these toys in store. Of course, I live in Australia. Australia is an island. It's an island which is a long way from many other countries. In fact, Australia is so far away from so many other countries, most people don't even know where Australia is. And there's times when I'm absolutely sure that the Mattel company has no idea where Australia is as well, because I see so many toys which appear for sale overseas that I never ever see being sold in Australia. You see, the problem is Australia's got a very small population, and the population is spread out over a very large land size. Logistically, Australia is a nightmare basket case place to sell things. But don't worry, if you are selling things in Australia, there's a little thing you can do versus the rest of the world. You can basically charge whatever you like. So prices in Australia seem to be very inflated versus, let's say, the USA. I'm sure there are many American tourists who fly down under and they land in Australia, and one of the first shocks you'll get, apart from seeing a drop bear or a loop snake, is the prices that you see for everyday goods. So to get to my conundrum of trying to buy the new Thomas Wooden Railway toys, that is the 2022 version, initially I thought I'll bring some in from overseas, but then it's going to start to double the price. In fact, it more than doubles the price because I'm up against the raw costs of the toy, the cost of the postage, and the exchange rate, which often starts to really jack up the price of whatever you're bringing into Australia. Then you've got tax on top of that. So what can be a $15 toy in the USA transforms in a miracle way to being a $40 toy in Australia. I am not ever going to pay $40 for something which I think if it's $20 or maybe $25, I'd be happy with that. But I'm just going to wait out until these toys are in store in Australia, and I hopefully will get them at a good price. I can see a toy retailer in Queensland, Australia. It's basically 1,000 kilometers from where I live. It's like a 12-hour drive if I was going to drive to these stores. They do have the new Thomas Wooden Railway stock, and what I like is they've got it at what I feel is a very good price. So the small format engines, that is like your Thomas and your diesel, blah, 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 they are set at $20. And the tender engines and your larger characters are set at $30. Now, considering that these are premium toy trains, and also you're paying, we used to call it the hit tax, but I'll call it the Mattel tax because it's a branded toy. This is the price which I feel is very good. Crikeys, if it's lower than this, I'd be jumping on them so fast. But there's a bit of a trap here, or a delay for me. A lot of these items you can only pick up in store. This toy store likes to present itself as a physical store. It will post some stuff. You can see on their online site what's for sale as a walk-in store versus what can be picked up via post. They do have a flat rate for postage. It's just under $10. But let's say if you buy a $20 toy, well, it basically becomes a $30 toy, and the postage flat rate excludes a bulky purchase. It doesn't really explain anywhere what a bulky purchase is. If I'm going to make an order here, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a bulky purchase. But that postage fee could really jack up the overall price of what you're buying. Unfortunately, postage in Australia is stupidly expensive, and it has been for a very long time, and no one's ever explained why we get ripped off at the post office. With this toy store in Queensland, I could easily rack up an order that's going to be punching up past $1,000, and I wonder if I could get free postage if I made a very large order. Maybe I'll get on the blower and have a chat to my Queensland colleagues and sort of give them the wedge about doing a deal. But as I know myself too well, I'm not very good at setting up these sorts of deals. And also, when I say to someone, oh, I'm someone on YouTube who looks at these quite closely, and I've got a big audience in America, well, that means nothing to someone in Australia. And that leaves me with absolutely no bargaining chip on the table to squeeze a deal. And I know there's that other thought bubble. I know you're having it, because I had this many years back. Why hasn't Mattel sent you out a little gift package of these miraculous new Thomas toys for you to show and glorify on YouTube? Well, the sad fact is that the Mattel company has never spoken to me for any of the time that I've been on YouTube, and that stretches way back to 2007, a long time ago. I would hate to think how many wonderful Mattel toys I've looked over on YouTube, and I'm sure I've helped you make a decision in going in store or online and buying one. Sure, there's been a couple which haven't quite hit the target, in fact some have totally missed the target, but overall, Mattel's an excellent toy maker and has been an excellent toy maker for a very long time. Just thinking back to the Queensland toy retailer, I noticed that they were selling some old Thomas Wood stuff. It's almost like the echo of Thomas Wood. I saw the lift and load cargo set there for $119. Now that's the set that I purchased at Toymate Erina Fair, and you probably thought I paid too much. Well, I only paid $60. Curious, isn't it? I also noticed they've got the Thomas All Engines Go large and small engine pack. It's 5 engines in a multi-pack. That's the one with the gold Thomas. They've got it for $29.99. Look, that's $30. Now at Toymate Erina Fair, there were lots of those for sale, and they were only $15. So as always when you're out shopping and looking at things online, always be buyer beware. I poked around on that Queensland toy retailer's website, and I was finding some very interesting older Thomas & Friends toys, still new in packaging, and it's nice to find somewhere that is keeping a bit of older stock. It would be the last you're going to see this stock sold in a conventional retail space, and then what happens after this is, as we all know, you'll have the eBay resellers putting it online, adding the word rare, collectible, hard to find, and whatever else they can to jag the price way up past what it's really worth. And remember, I do like this retailer because I believe they've got the right price on the 2022 Thomas & Friends wooden railway stuff. And of course, I'm talking about the right price in Australia. Okay, I've seen and heard enough. Oh, crikey's got them without causing too much of a train wreck. Okay, I didn't forget about this. I'm after the Thomas the Tank variation of this Hot Wheels monster truck. This, of course, is SpongeBob SquarePants. And, well, number one, they're a little bit hard to find in store, these toys I've found. I looked on the back here, I thought I'd find Thomas the Tank, but maybe I've got the wrong series here. And what's scary is, and this reminded me of locomotoring Thomas the Tank online, I can see on eBay, the Thomas the Tank version of the monster truck is pulling stupid prices. Basically, for me to land one in Australia, it's $100, and that's ridiculous. And of course, the sellers are saying rare and hard to find. Yes, but is it really, or is that just a trap? The SpongeBob monster truck, it looks cool. I'm not going to take this out of the box until I understand whether or not you know, this will be some stupid thing that pulls stupid money online, because SpongeBob is crazily collectible, and adults as well, because if you're watching SpongeBob way back when it started, you would definitely be an adult now. Did you hear that, YouTube? Definitely an adult. Listen up, you klutzy sight, and I'm going to very quickly look at the Thomas in here very quickly. Woo! Yes, it was a very nice find, and what's weird about this pack is it doesn't really say anything special that you've got a gold Thomas here. It is so overglued, maybe for a good reason. Maybe they know what's in here would be taken out. It's completely and utterly near impossible to open. That's probably a very, very good thing, considering the gold that's laying inside. I've got it, and I've had to fight from one edge, and I'm working my way along. Ooh, wow, that was almost military rubber chicken time, almost. But I was worried I'd smack up the gold Thomas. And the weird part for me is I haven't heard anyone talk about this toy, because often people say, hey, have you got this Thomas yet, Leah? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. This looks awesome. Okay, I'm calling this a gold painted Thomas All Engines Go metal engine push along toy. It's nice. It's a bit of a missed opportunity. I've been saying that a few times in this little episode, haven't I? I'm calling the wheels mustard coloured. I'm calling that a dull gold, and I'll explain this soon, the way it's painted up. The plastic is also, I'll call it's a dullish sort of gold. It could have been more lustrous. The underneath is interesting. It's a blue transparent flecked plastic, and it's curious that it's transparent, because if I get a torch up behind this Thomas, you can see the torch shines through the plastic, which sort of had me thinking, why would they do that on this one? It's nice. Maybe there's something I don't understand going on here. But if I bring up a Thomas from, it's actually getting on some years ago now, and this is the gold special edition Thomas. It's not limited edition. It's not rare. I don't like what people are saying about this on eBay, and this is it can pull some stupid prices. There's traps in relation to this Thomas here. Just really be buyer beware. But I think if I hold those two up there, which one, and if I glint them in the light there, which one do you want to look at? I know style-wise which one I'd like to look at, but as in luster, I know which one is doing it for me, and I think that's why I'm saying this All Engines Go gold painted Thomas is a missed opportunity. If only it was nice like that, and if only. The sad part about this Thomas here, I mean, we've spoken about this Thomas many times over the years. The fact that it's a dumb magnet Thomas, if only the Thomas Adventures, they sort of rejiggered it and reissued it without the dumb magnets. They're just so distractingly ugly. Yes, and we go back to the story that this is why All Engines Go made a lot of things right. Mind you, we're not looking at a clear that didn't become this. There were a couple of things in between that we've discussed at length in other videos. But I think that if only this was a nice chromy gold Thomas, you know what, I would have got very excited. But nevertheless, it's nice to have, and I'll never say no to a different style of Thomas, and this is different.
Thank God that's over. That was so flippin' boring, and it was milked to death. I notice he's just made his thumbnail. Look down there. And I can see something that I want to smack up. Let me go and get Mr. Hammer. Flippin' out, Mr. Hammer's flippin' heavy, but he's a lot of flippin' fun. And this clown doesn't even know where I hide Mr. Hammer in his own frickin' workshop. I keep telling you, he knows nothing. Now, which one of these wonderful Thomas toys will I smack to death? Which one's the most valuable? What did he teach me in this video? Apart from nothing! I want to cause him the maximum financial damage. I don't think it's that Thomas there. I think it's that one that's worth thousands of dollars. I'll get that one. What's going to cause maximum damage? I think I'll aim for the one. I'll just carefully line it up first. Tap, tap, tap. Thomas to oblivion.